Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ion Canon podcast, your home for in-depth discussion on the lore, the narrative, and the big ideas of the galaxy far, far away. My name is Matthew, and I'm coming to you from Underworld North Studios in Toronto. As always, I'm joined across the continent by your friend of mine, Mr. Joel Davis in Underworld, Orange County. Joel, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. You can't see right now, folks, but my cat is in my lap, burying their little head in my armpit.
Nice.
They may pop up
Is that
any
a
minute.
comfortable position, or there we go?
It's silly, but it's
Is that
fun.
it's fine?
It
Okay. Is it
tickles, but
comfortable?
yeah, it's comfortable. I'm good. They're comfortable.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
comfortable too.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. Anyway, all right. Fun times. This week, guess what? Clone Force 99. They go on a wild chase through the galaxy, which leads to some fantastic exploration of their own motivations and worries. Bad Batch Sanctuary by Lamar Giles is at once moving and exciting. A combination brought out masterfully by Marc Thompson's stellar audiobook performance. So this week we're getting ourselves back to a good old-fashioned book review. That's right, again, talking about Bad Batch Sanctuary. First, let's get to some plugs here. You can follow us on Blue Sky at Ion Canon, ioncanon.biscuit.social, and everywhere else, just follow the SW. That's where we're directing folks. Twitter, Instagram, also Blue Sky and Facebook, etc. If you're on the Facebook page, hello. There we go. So check that out. Also, if you prefer to listen, we are here on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and some other podcatchers. I know also YouTube does its own kind of audio only integration as YouTube podcasts. So please do give that a search. Ion Canon Podcast, not Ion Canon, just Ion Canon Podcast. Although I think on YouTube it's just Ion Canon. But we can fix that. We'll fix that in a bit. Also my other podcast, I'll get to that more on that in a second, but the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews. Follow Blue Sky at the Tractor Beam .biscuit.social. Search the Tractor Beam Star Wars Comics Reviews for that. I'll get to that in a second. First off, to say we are part of the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network. And here on the Underworld YouTube channel, we have memberships, we have super chats. So if you want to support us, if you want to help us out, then we are most grateful. There we go. We got a Jesse Bennett sighting in the comments there in the chat. Because speaking of which, we also got Star Wars Underworld Discord server, which I know, Jesse, you're pretty active in there, and Joel, of course, you and Ben are manning that ship. Anything fun going on recently?
Last Friday, speaking of Jesse hosted our D&D session on Friday. We had a lot of fun. We're going to be continuing that again next Friday, this time at 4 p.m. Central Time, for everyone to get a little bit earlier, but to make sure all our players can join us. And I think this Wednesday, if everything lines up for me, we'll be doing just a regular game night.
Nice.
Maybe some Fortnite, Fall Guys, Marvel Rivals, all sorts of fun stuff.
So 4 p.m. Central, I believe, is 5 p.m. Eastern and 2 p.m. Pacific. Yes, I think that's correct. That is correct. And 3 p.m. Saskatchewan time, which is where I'll be, but maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, next week. What am I doing on Wednesday? So you do check that out. Link in the description down below, I should say. Then I'll tell you what I'm doing on Wednesday. This Wednesday is the Tractor Room Comics Reviews. Usually Chris Abbott and I, we talk about the comic books that came out that day on every Wednesday. And normally we do that right here on the channel at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. We are coming to you 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, because, and I mentioned that because Chris will be en route to New York for New York Comic Con. I will not be, sad face, but I'm getting on the owner of a comic book store I know, and chatting all about the comic book industry as it is, this great shakeup in the industry, especially through distribution. And so I call it the great diamond meltdown of 2024, 2025, and what that means for Marvel and Dark Horse. So what that means for Star Wars specifically, and how that kind of monkeys with the release schedules, how they kind of monkeyed with the High Republic a little bit. So giving kind of the background, the real world background to what's going on in that corner of the fandom. Because there's been a lot of upheaval the last few years, and so kind of interesting to dive into that. So a bit of a different Tractor Beam episode. We will catch up on the books that there are some books coming out on Wednesday, but we will get to them the week later and the week after that. So stay tuned. But right here, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Mountain, because the comic book store is in Edmonton. That's why I mentioned that. So check that out again. Follow the tractorbeam.bisky.social there. All right, I'm gonna rest my voice here and let you dive into what's your week? What were your thoughts?
Oop, there we go. There we go.
There's the cat.
Here's the cat. So my thoughts this week are about tie-in material, our favorite topic. I'm still here, right? Everything quiet. Okay, everything quiet for 5 seconds.
No, we're good. I'm listening attentively. Is what I'm doing.
Good. And I've been thinking a lot about tie-in material before a movie, after a movie, etc. And one thing I think we don't talk enough about when it comes to the first round of Star Wars movies from 2015 to 2019. I was gonna say 2018, but or 2020, but I'm always 1 year off. Is a lot of those movies had production problems during the actual production of the film. Like there were story changes and plot changes, with the exception of Last Jedi, really, for like almost all of them, or reshooting the whole dang movie for Solo. Although I don't know how much of that was just changing the script or not. Was changing the script or just changing it for the directing itself. But like, there's stories of Rise of Skywalker where JJ kept changing the intro, the first act of the film, really late in the day, and there were like a massive reshoot of that movie, like last quarter, where the ending just changed. And I don't know how much some of that is true. There was a lot going on. Force Awakens also kind of had that to some extent as well. And it's sort of like, and they're gonna go Rogue One, which changed a lot. Like Andor apparently was supposed to be an Imperial spy all the way up until Gilroy came into the picture, and changed his entire arc. Apparently, so yeah, he's gonna be an Imperial defector, which would have been interesting, but kind of funny. I guess Gilroy kind of created the Andor we all know. Really did make the Andor we all know from the get go. But it's but my point is, it's kind of hard to tie in things when things are changing so last minute. I mean, not even last minute, just a lot of time. I mean, heck, episode 9 had an entire creative overhaul, and that probably screwed up a lot of long-term book plans and whatnot. Like I know that Galaxy's Edge was probably based more on stuff they were going to do with Colin Trevorrow's Duel of the Fates than the episode 9 we actually got. Didn't help that they didn't push back the movie a couple of years too. That probably could have helped a little bit. But so that's probably one of the big reasons why tie material has been so hard, because the movies themselves just been kind of changing. And I'm curious if, like, maybe with this next set of films, again, we've only seen one. One's done. One's already in production. If they don't have these very production heavy upheavals. I mean, there's always gonna be problems and challenges. That's just the nature of the game. But in terms of like, oh no, we're actually gonna like Starfire's like, oh no, actually I heard like 90% of Starfire's changing up and the entire story is now just completely different midway through shooting. That's more of a problem compared to something like what hopefully is gonna happen with Starfighter. I think which will happen with Starfighter and what happened with Mando. Like, oh no, script more or less done. And then, 6 to 9 months of shooting, give or take, and then post-production. And, and because of how the script and story is more or less locked in already, which hopefully not as, I mean, there's always gonna be some changes, of course. Nothing ever truly is 100% on paper the day you shoot it, of course. There's always a little bit of improvisation, but I'm talking about like entire story structure goes out the window. Like Janna, I do think Janna was meant to be Lando's daughter but they cut out that entire plot point from the film. But back to my point. My point is, if these films have smoother productions, actual, like, not just pre-production when you're still writing out the script and still figuring out, like when the cameras are rolling, and hopefully you're not changing the story halfway through, then maybe that also helps the tie material and the marketing. So it's like, all right, we kind of know what the movie's about, more or less. It's locked in. There's no major changes happening. Everything's kind of happening now. That gives the book authors a little bit more of an idea of like, okay, this is what the movie's about. Nothing massively is changing. Maybe this will allow for maybe more smoother tie before a movie comes out and even after, because even before after, it's like, okay, we know what the movie is. The plot points are staying the same. Characters are not getting cut out last minute.
Right.
Entire subplots are not getting cut out last minute. So I'll be just curious to see how just smoother productions of these films, if they happen, of course. I mean, still we're only one of two, and Starfighter's just started. Anything's possible. I'm not too worried. John Levy always seems like seems to be a guy who a good producer and captains his ship well. How that will affect things, or maybe it won't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
But that's just something I think we don't talk enough about. With like, remember, guys, there were a lot of production issues on the movie even after this thing started filming. So it's kind of hard to tie in something where it's like, oh well, wait, the entire character subplot got cut out last minute. Whoops. Well, this kind of makes this book now pointless or weird.
Yeah.
Snoke's a
I mean,
clone
I
now.
want to clarify. So good.
No, I'm just saying, Snoke's a clone now.
Snoke's a clone now. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that Snoke theory turned out to be true. So just clarify, you're not saying that Starfighter changed their script halfway through filming. You're just giving an example.
Oh yeah, no. Starfighter has not done that. Rise of Skywalker and Force Awakens did that, and so has Rogue One. Starfighter, I mean, Starfighter right now seems to be pretty good production-wise.
Okay.
And so with Mandalorian Grogu, that seemed to be, like Jon Favreau was like, we're here, we're gonna do it, we're done.
Yeah.
And so far, I have not heard drama on Starfighter or Ahsoka, so seems like
it might happen. Yeah.
I mean, it's happening.
Might.
I'm just
still
saying,
might. Yeah.
I was just saying that. They're not. If there were reshoots, it was normal reshoots, not we're changing half the movie reshoots. Just like tweaking scenes and making sure maybe performances are a little stronger.
I mean, I'm curious to. This is an aside, but you made this a side point about how Galaxy's Edge is probably more in line with Trevorrow's Duel of the Fates. I mean, you have that ship that's near the First Order depot, whatever it's called. That's from Duel of the Fate.
Yes.
So that's not seen anywhere else. So there's that. That's an example. I'm curious to learn more about that. You have somewhat of a point. I mean, I can definitely see, them saying, that would make sense. And, we always, and, this is part of, also we'll say this every week, right? That time materials that come out before the movie comes out, before the show comes out, there haven't been any for shows, before the movie comes out, are never as good as stories that authors they see the thing, they're like, oh, I'm thinking about a story that could connect to the thing, I'm just going to write that thing. Those are always better, as we're going to talk about today. We're going to bring up a great example today, but the thing is, your question about what would it be like if there's a smoother production,
and the story's just locked in more tightly than
if the story's locked in, but that also assumes that Lucasfilm will actually tell the authors anything either way. If it's JJ, even if JJ was able to lock in a story, I don't see, even JJ was able to lock in Force Awakens, I don't see him telling Claudia Gray, hey, this is what this is about. Here, go right bloodline, all that. She gonna probably have to make up a bunch of the politics behind the First Order and the New Republic, and so
I would actually like to know how much she had to make up and how much Story Group kind of directed her.
I mean, I guess the overall gist, sure, but I don't know. I think these tie-in things are, I mean, pure marketing, pure just buzz generation, and Did
I
they
mean, all
are they
Star Wars
success
books are pure marketing to some extent.
to some extent, but I mean, it's more. Well, let's just say this: I don't think Bad Batch Sanctuary was written to say, "Hey, go subscribe to Disney Plus to watch this show." It's, "Hey, you subscribe to Disney Plus, you watch the show. Here's this book set in between seasons 2 and 3." I think that's more
Oh,
likely.
absolutely.
Well, but so you know what I mean. I do see what you mean, but it's more, yeah, let's spin out a story based on these characters that we already know and the things that we already know have happened. So yeah, um, yeah, I don't know. I just think things are just always going to be better after the fact. I mean, we agree with that. Maybe you raise a reason why. Again, to reiterate my main point, or you raise a reason why think tie-in materials aren't as good is because they can't they can't dive into the story too much because the authors don't necessarily know much, even if it is locked in, I think. So
Mhm.
yeah, there you go. So shout out to Jordan. How's it going? Um yeah, we'll get to your comment here about Bad Batch in a bit. I do want to dive in. Do you have anything more to say about this thought, or can we move on to my thing?
No, I mean, I'm just kind of. Well, I mean, hey, I guess I'm kind of curious if they're going to announce any Mando tie-in books because that film's been done for 3 weeks
I
or
doubt it.
real
I doubt it,
months.
honestly. I
I
think
mean,
if they haven't already, maybe it's something New York. I'll put this down here. Yeah.
who knows? I mean, we're still 9 months away from the movie. Maybe they want to get everything a little bit closer to, right?
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
if you haven't heard anything by March or April, then okay,
Hmm.
fair. I can
Yeah.
see maybe now they
Yeah.
wait up. I don't know.
So there you go. So my thing continuing on from my thought about Nemec being wrong literally in the sense of that freedom is the pure idea, the natural idea, and control is the unnatural thing that requires constant effort. I'm thinking, okay, well, what is he actually trying to do? And I mentioned that in the in my thoughts, kind of give a caveat. I'm making the caveat the main point here, in that manifestos are meant to motivate people to action. And so his point he makes is, if you do your bit, if you chip in your bit, then the the dominoes will eventually, if you become a domino or affect a domino, then they'll all eventually fall. If you do your little bit, the system will come down. I think similar sort of thing with Marx, thinking about Marx, the Communist Manifesto, and he presents this utopian vision that the proletariat will seize the means of production. It's this sort of inevitable, not sort of, it's this inevitable thing that will happen because the people will just get fed up, and the bourgeoisie can't handle it, and so it'll happen. So the promise of inevitability is something that, well, this conditional promise of, if we do our little bit, um then if we each do our little bit, then the grand sweeping change will happen, is inevitable. And so, I mean, Nemec is saying, don't try and single-handedly save the galaxy, because you can't on your own. Sorry. But do the thing you can do, and if everyone together does the things they can do that are all different wonderfully, then that change can happen. And so, yeah, that in that way, I mean, incredibly powerful. And so, I mean, a way of oddly enough motivating the constant effort to push, to against the very natural thing of surrendering power, surrendering agency. That's the easy, simple thing to do, is surrender agency. Um, Here he's saying, no, to keep pushing, do your little bit, keep pushing. All you got to do is try. So it doesn't. I'm not. What my initial thought wasn't to critique him. Again, he might agree with what I'm saying here. manifesto again isn't a scientific theory, isn't a political science theory. It's a call to action, a call to arms. Not necessarily literal arms, if it's not necessarily literal violence, if it's more of a non-violent manifesto, but still, there's uh, an inspiration to actually do the little bit you can do, and that's kind of my hope in the real world here. You know, it's one of the reasons why I think humor is absolutely important, essential in in our current circumstances, in the current circumstances in those United States. I think Joel, you might agree. Maybe one of the reasons why you keep bringing up historical precedents is that we've been here before. It'll change. Don't don't fret too much about it. These things, these ways that we can both cope and get up in the morning and live our lives and find joy and find again humor. Humor is absolutely essential. I mean, I've watched Colbert and Jon Stewart all the time because that's where we get our news now, especially because they can humor is a way of making that big all-encompassing thing feel actually seeing it as actually quite small and quite temporary, because everything's actually small and temporary, especially the things that are claiming to be so big end up being very small and temporary. So yeah, Nemec, I mean, I want to read more of that thing. I don't think it exists. I don't know if there are scripts or anything of it other than what we got on screen, but yeah, it's this fascinating little piece of in-universe political literature that I'm always curious about. But yeah, that's my follow-up thought. Motivational manifestos. I don't know, Joel, what do you think?
I wish we had more political literature in Star Wars. I think that'd
Yeah.
be awesome. I know there is like in the old West End games D&D source
Mhm.
books, there's like the Declaration of Rebellion, which is
Interesting.
like the declaration that the Rebel
Mhm.
Alliance, Mon, Garm, Bale all signed.
Mhm.
Which is kind of like which is basically just the Declaration of Independence from America, and they just changed some of the words to like species
Mhm.
or something, so you can't say
Yeah,
human or man. Um,
sure.
the rights of species and planets to something something life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Blah blah
Yes.
blah. I should read that one day. I'll maybe
Yeah.
maybe next week. I mean, not next week, the week after.
Mhm.
I love well, I guess Palpatine's speech is kind of a manifesto, but not almost like an actual like a book of like
Mhm.
this is what the ideology of the New Order is about.
Sure.
Which is actually something that's not brought up a lot. It's something interesting, New
Mm.
Orderisms, because Rise and Fall of the
Yeah.
Galactic Empire brings up that's the official Imperial ideology. It's called the New Order.
Yeah.
It's not brought up a
Because
lot.
new is always better, according to Barney Stinson. New is always better.
Exactly. But yeah, if Chris Kemshaw can create a whole side of academia and Rise and Fall of the Galactic Empire,
Yeah.
I mean, he does that. He's like he cites a bunch of other academics in Star Wars who are doing
Yeah.
their books. There's even like a
Yeah.
Thrawn book called "Artistically Done: The Life and Times of Grand Admiral Thrawn." Um,
Amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Um,
I
and
know
some of
what
the
I'm
other
bringing on the plane on Thursday.
and some of our
Yeah.
And fun fact, our friend Ellie from Dog the Ferrex,
Mhm.
Chris Kemshaw and her are friends. There's now Ellie's got her own Star Wars OC who's an academic, and
Nice.
and
Amazing. That's my
Kristen
dream.
Bever's
Kittram
book
Graves. Yeah.
is also in there. Which
Yeah.
Skywalker Family War is a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my new goal. That's my new life goal.
Yeah,
To be like Chris Kemshaw. I'm gonna DM him. Like,
you should.
can I be like Force theologian or something?
Well,
Please. That'd be great.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, he's very responsive. I'm
He
this
is.
guy.
Oh yeah, he is. And he's a Liverpool fan, so there we go.
I suggested to him one of my favorite World War One series because I'm a big because he likes World War One and the
Mhm.
World War One series I really like.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, I'm distracted. But yeah, no, I got nothing. I
Yeah.
think
Fun times, fun times. Yeah, that'd be another thing, like in universe literature. Yes. super
Well, that's
bad
Rise and
guy.
Fall of the Galactic Empire. That's in universe literature, technically.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
Yeah,
it's a book on the HoloNet that
yeah.
Pippin
Bom
Mary's
Bomarkin.
character
Bomarkin.
Beaumont Kim put on the
Yeah.
HoloNet for free.
Mhm.
That's the
Yeah.
lore behind it. So, yeah.
Amazing. I okay. I need to read it
Read the
soon.
book. We need to talk about it. It's my favorite
Yeah.
book.
Yes. Yep. All right. I didn't make a no. I'm gonna do this. Hold on. I'm gonna do this ticker. There we go. This is happening now. We're gonna do that very quickly. Yes.
Ooh.
Again, I'm not there. I'm sad about it. I'm gonna have FOMO. You're gonna be living vicariously through Chris and through a few other people I know are going. But hopefully next year. Hopefully next year might be a thing. New York Comic Con is. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I have a special place in my heart for Toronto Comic Con, which is small. I've only been to Celebration once, and San Diego Comic Con was tough, and so New York Comic Con is probably up there as my favorite. I mean, Fan Expo Canada is my hometown too, but yeah, New York Comic Con my favorite, and they always bring it when it comes to publishing, Star Wars publishing. So yeah, just kind of, I know Chris and I went into a bit of it on Wednesday, and in 2 weeks' time on Tractor Beam, three of us will get back together to chat about it. But what kind of predictions? I mean, maybe there will be a Mando and Grogu tie-in. I think the art is the art of the Mandalorian. This was at San Diego. Michael Siglain. This is a bit of an aside.
There's a
Michael
visual
Siglain,
guide coming.
yeah, that thing.
I'm excited.
Michael Siglain said that is kind of because it's seasons 1 to 3. It's all 3 seasons talking about that, and the idea there is to Michael Siglain, he said get you prepped for the movie. So that's sort of a tie-in to Mando and Grogu, but maybe there'll be a novel. Maybe how about a kid? Like, surprisingly, there hasn't been a kids book, a Grogu kids book.
I've seen some Grogu kid books around.
Have there been? Okay, maybe I'm not paying enough attention.
Not canonical, but like those.
Yeah,
little,
like a canonical like Grogu kids book that I could get for my nieces.
No, I mean there's definitely like little cutesy ones like Grogu's Day Off or
Yeah,
Grogu and the Bug. You know, little kid stuff.
Grogu and the Frog.
There's like a little kids novel of the Mandalorian. That's basically just season 1 of the Mandalorian. Grogu
Sure.
told. It's very cute. It's like at the end,
Yeah.
like at the end of the day, Mando had and Grogu were a family, and it was very cute.
Nice.
Them hugging.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of predictions, again, I don't predict very much of anything. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're still in a very quiet time.
Mhm.
I do think if there are any reveals, it's probably Mando centric. If depending on how much they want to get that started. I mean, I do think that first trailer is kind of the kickoff to the long marketing call, which probably will ramp up way more as we get closer and closer to the movie. I mean, but this is the thing. Everyone always complains about, like, oh, there's never any marketing. And then, like, the month before the movie, it's like, too many TV spots, TV spots, make it stop. It's like, you're spoiling it to now. It's like, make up your mind, people.
Who talks like that? Who says that?
I know, right? So, I'm not surplus about it. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's to remind the people who will probably need to be reminded, hey, there's a movie coming out. We already know. It's like, but it's like the normal audience is like, movie in 1 month. Let's go. 1 week. Let's go, people. But yeah, I think if there are any reveals, maybe a book, maybe a little something. Yeah, I don't know about the comics. I really don't. I don't know if they'll announce, hey, we're moving on to the new thing, or I don't know, because it's sort of like, do they want to make it kind of feel like it's all ending? Because that just kind of bummed people out. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
It's like, Afra's over. We're done. They're like, oh, well, that's sad. I mean, maybe I could see some Legacy Vader previews, because that always gets the hype. And that comic's been getting the hype in general over the other two. So is Charles still going to that one? I forget.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, he's in Brooklyn. I'm pretty sure. So yes. I mean, I have I just quickly hit the Google machine, searching the panel. This is the panel that's on this Saturday. Oh my word, October 11th. Is that this Saturday? I'm not crazy. Yeah, October 11th, 2025 at
Mm.
11:30, and this is in the North Room,
Nice.
which is great. Last year was also in the North building. Um, 2 years ago was in the basement of the main stage or whatever it is, and this kind of low ceiling, kind of knowing thing. This is the nice big airy room. Definitely get there early, anyways. But 4062, and so, well, here's the description. Join Lucasfilm Publishing and a group of all-star authors and artists for a sneak peek into a galaxy far, far away. From the era of the High Republic to the time of the New Republic and beyond, be here for updates, behind-the-scenes stories, announcements, and reveals that expand the Star Wars saga into books, comics, and magazines. Panelists include, here we go, we have this list: Kristen Baber, Adam Christopher, Mark Guggenheim, Jennifer Heddle, Kwame Mbalia, Ethan Sachs, and Charles Soule. Ethan Sachs might be writing, talking about, Codebreaker. Codebreaker number 4 keeps getting pushed. So it was supposed to come out early November, but it's not. It's coming out late November. So I don't entirely know. Ethan, I know he's doing the next Boba Fett Black, White, Red.
Oh, nice.
So there's that. Yeah, you mentioned Adam Christopher talking about Master of Evil. Mark Guggenheim probably about Jedi Knights. Again, this is Chris and I talked about this. And Charles probably about Legacy of Vader. And my guess is he'll also want to mention High Republic, just going back and chatting some more about that.
I could see a phase, like some phase more teases.
Maybe. I mean, again, with Charles, I think you just want to talk more about Charles.
I mean, that's true too.
Seems like he did at San Diego.
But yeah, I mean, I was reading one of our friends, History Labarce's predictions about this. He also kind of predicts mostly Mando
Historian of
stuff.
Byleth, right?
Yeah. He kind of mostly predicts Mando stuff and maybe some High Republic stuff. But he mentioned something that I was right, like, that's this that spring. He mentioned like the spring, early summer schedule is pretty empty right now.
Yeah,
so it's like, I can't like. I don't think. Do we know anything happening after this next year, or if next year kind of? Well, I mean, book wise.
Yeah.
I think everything's kind of empty. I think it's all kind. I think after once January hits, I don't think there's anything.
Let's see.
I could be wrong. I might be wrong, but I feel like
there's a lot of reprints, but
I mean, no, Mando. I mean, there's the Mando visual dictionary.
Trying to see here. So, picture book, no. Star Wars Grogu loves to snack. And Grogu stickers. There we go. They're doing the reissuing the prequel novelizations.
Oh, nice.
Ahsoka Rebel Jedi.
Okay, so there's doesn't seem to be like any major novel or comic stuff happening next year. So I mean, maybe they'll give us something, or maybe we'll have to wait a little bit. But yeah, that spring summer is.
Oh, the Low Red Moon by Mike Chen. That's February.
Okay, there's one. There's one
Outlaws,
thing.
Which okay.
I like Mike Chen.
Yeah, I think that's the latest new novel that's been announced.
Right.
So yeah. So maybe something. When's I should know this. I should have this burned in my mind. When's Mando and Grogu supposed to come out?
May of 2026.
Supposed to come out in May.
Hang on, Mando and they actually have a date, which is nice.
Yeah.
May 22nd, 2026.
Because the visual guide comes out. The visual guide, this guided journal, Funko Pop coloring book, sticker collection, a bunch of things that comes out April 28th. I guess the soft cover of Sanctuary comes out May 5th, and then the prequels come out June 2nd. The prequel reprints, reissues.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, there's nothing. I mean, Art of Andor is in June 30th. Oh, good. Looks good. Yeah. No, I think you're right. Yeah. The latest is Low Red Moon on February 3rd. So
And no comics, nothing after next year.
Uh,
I mean, no ongoing comics, I guess.
no. Well, that's the other thing, and that's the big thing. And kind of I mentioned this on Wednesday is, in the December solicits for Marvel, what wasn't listed was Afra Chaos Agent. So that's probably done after issue 5, which comes out this at the end of this month. And then and of course Cherish Chen isn't going to be there. Alex Segura, Chris mentioned Alex Segura isn't listed on the panel. He has his own booth in Artist Alley because everyone does, because it's the best Artist Alley in the universe. But yeah, no, that's no Alex Segura on the panel. So that's the thing. Even Jedi Knights and Legacy of Vader have got to be wrapping up soon as well. So,
right.
There you go. I would lose my mind if they announced Star Wars #1. Anakin, Obi-Wan going on their adventures, and Sheev watching his career with interest. I think, again, I keep saying this, there is an appetite for that, but I don't know. That's the thing. That's why I'm starting to follow the solicits on Tractor View, because we don't know what's happening in the comics world, right? I think they tried all this stuff this year, and maybe it just didn't take off, or
I feel like Legacy Vader might have taken off.
Yeah, Legacy Vader took off. But to your point, the ongoing and the Afra, which are set, sure, after the Battle of Jakku, but to your This Week in Star Wars point, the Mandoverse isn't done, so they should not touch anything.
Oh, I disagree with that, because I think the story is just so disconnected from the Mandoverse. They don't have to really. I don't think that's the problem. Yeah, I just don't think Alex Segura is a good writer for comics. I just think it's just bad.
I think it's fine. The Afra book is a little disjointed, but I think the ongoing book is fine.
I don't think Mandoverse really affects the New Republic era at all. I think you can just tell a story so disconnected.
Well, the Ahsoka season 2 will.
Yeah, but I don't think that has anything to do with the comics, though.
So, but I think to the point is they're hesitant because they don't want to step on any toes or anything.
Just tell a good small scale story. And
yeah.
I just think maybe they're just, True. I think it's just time. Maybe we just need to critique Alex Segura and the writer of the Afra novel. Maybe you're just not good at this thing. Maybe stick to novels.
Again, I think the writing, at least the ongoing, is fine. But the Afra concept was kind of iffy. But the writing in the ongoing, that one probably it just started to get good. They should have introduced.
Gillen wasn't writing it. I bet you people would maybe I like it.
Well, sure, it's Gillen. Or if Alyssa Wong kept going with it, but yeah. Anyway,
Gillen with the main line. I want Gillen on the main line back.
Oh, that'd be interesting. I don't know what he's up to these days. Anyway,
get Kevin Scott on the main line. He hasn't done a main line yet.
That's true. That'd be brilliant. Yeah, Kevin Scott writing Obi-Wan Anakin. Because that era is his wheelhouse.
But I don't think it has anything to do with the Mandoverse. Because I think why not just tell a small scale story?
That's the thing, is that with Alex Segura's book, it is a smaller scale story, and it's going to end. They're going to figure out this Fenrir situation, and I was like, oh yeah, let's keep going and figure out other situations, other problems for the New Republic. But
I think you can do that. I think you just need to do it good. That's
I don't know. I think there's something to. Anyway, we're probably not going to agree on this, but
no, I just think just write it well, and I think that's the thing I always disagree with Chris. It's just I just think you just gotta admit that these are not good, well written. Critique the writers, not the situation.
Okay. Well, what about the ongoing? Is that well written? You think?
I just think the pacing's a little off. And it's I don't know. I think we just be doing more depth with the characters.
Yeah, I kind of see that, but yeah, I don't know. I maybe it's both. Maybe we're both right. It's always possible. There you go. So yeah, we'll definitely have we'll have a recap about what happens out in the Javits Center there. Chris will hopefully be able to give us the scoop, give us the lowdown, and just what was like there this year, what it's like, because not just Star Wars, but Marvel and overall in DC. Marvel's doing something Hall H-ish in New York Comic Con, which is gonna be bonkers. So yeah, so we
But
will.
seriously, get Kevin Scott on the main line. I don't care at this
I
point.
will.
He
I
got
won't disagree with that. Yeah,
Kevin, him and maybe one day Ethan Sachs. They should. I want
yeah,
to eventually.
I don't disagree with that. I would eat that up. For them. So I think that's about it. Again, not much is our prediction. I'm not predicting a Mandoverse tie-in, frankly. Not at least not for an adult novel. Maybe like a visual something.
We got the
Or
visual dictionary, so it's
yeah,
all
but
right.
like a Mando Grogu tie-in for the film
Okay,
specifically.
yeah.
Um,
The art of Mandalorian Grogu would be fun.
yeah, like something like that maybe. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised. My gut is saying they might do a YA something for Mandalorian Grogu. I don't know why I think that, because I think they might just do something,
Mhm.
but they might need to do something. But yeah, like we're saying, tie-in materials just don't work as well, right? The people who are hyped for this movie. If you want to get hyped for this movie, there's other ways to hype people up now. That's another thing. Is to back to your this week point.
Mhm.
It's not that effective marketing thing. Maybe it was. It was back in the day. You know, Phantom Menace novelization, or not the novelization, but the things that came out around it, and what the James Luceno novel, whatever, Rise of the Dark Lord after it. I guess
Actually, with
after
Cloak
Revenge
of
of the Sith.
Deception.
Yeah,
Oh, right. Oh,
Cloak of Deception. That's kind of what I'm thinking
that
of.
was
But
Phantom Menace.
yeah, oh yeah, Phantom Menace, and um, well, there was the one for Revenge of the Sith, right? Is that right before Revenge of
There
the
were
Sith?
two for Revenge of the Sith that were
Yeah.
really good: Labyrinth of Evil
Yes.
and Dark Lord: Rise of Darth Vader. Now, I mean, I guess I'll say
Yeah.
this about. I mean, sorry to kind of belate this
Yeah.
point. We'll get to the main topic, I promise.
Yeah. We will.
But
Yeah.
it is kind of funny that I mean, maybe that is kind of the problem. Like, well,
Mhm.
they knew what was going to happen. Grievous was going to kidnap the Chancellor, and
True.
that was told in that book. Was told in the
Mhm.
2D show too.
Mhm.
We got to see it before the movie even came out. I mean, sure,
True.
Grievous's characterization is not close to what he was in the movie, but at
Mhm.
least it's there.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Mhm. Yeah.
So you were all
Speaking of which, last thing I'll say is Revenge of the Sith novelization reissue
yeah,
coming out in a few days, in a week or so.
I should be getting mine
That's
soon in the
Yeah,
mail.
me too. It's in the mail. It's coming. It's coming. Just like my Taylor Swift record is coming. I promise. There we go. All right. I had to get one run reference in. Come on, I had to get one Life of the Showgirl reference in there. Anyways, I think we can move right along to our main topic. If I can find it. There we go. Well, you take it away, Joel.
The bad bitch. Yeah, Bad Batch Sanctuary. A Bad Batch tie novel after the fact, set in between seasons
It's
2
not a
and
tie-in novel.
what?
I don't
Well,
count as a tie-in novel. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
I mean, I don't count the Star Wars comics as tie-in novels either, just because are set in the era.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
um, but a Star Wars Bad Batch novel set during season 2 before the finale.
Mhm.
Um, about our friends in the Batch dealing with their Batchy adventures as they try to support their new home on Pabu and meet some
Mhm.
interesting people who want some sanctuary. Sanctuary!
Mhm.
Sanctuary!
Mhm.
Sorry, I love the Hunchback. That's
Yes.
dumb. So yeah, let's just get into it. So let's
Mhm.
give you my overall thoughts on the book before, and then we'll kind of just go into characters and stuff.
Mhm.
So overall, I really liked it. This was a really good
Mhm.
novel. And a pretty good Bad Batch novel. It felt like it didn't feel like in some ways it felt like watching a long episode of the show, but I think it uses the novel format to its advantage to not just feel like, oh, I'm reading just an episode and I can kind of see the seams but like
Mhm.
use the novel format to kind of get a little more in depth with some of the characters, especially the new ones, and into
Mhm.
the batch's heads quite a bit. Um, I'll say to anybody out there, if you like the Bad Batch, definitely read this novel. I think it's really good. I think it's really well written. I think the authors wrote it really well. Kind of going back to my whole thing of like you could do these small scale adventures, just do them well.
Mhm.
I think this author definitely handled that quite well. I'm gonna say well a lot. If you don't like the Bad Batch, I don't know if you'll get a lot out of this.
Hmm.
I think you kind of should be a fan of the Bad Batch as a show to maybe enjoy this fully, because I think this book definitely assumes you've been have watched the show.
Question: are there people who don't like the Bad Batch?
I know a few people,
All
sadly.
right, fair. All right.
I
Anyway,
mean, I
sorry,
think
keep
it's.
going.
I think unfortunately this is true. It's like with the people I know who don't like Dark Disciples, they also just don't like the Clone Wars. So, you know, if you don't like the Clone Wars, you're not gonna like that book. Um,
Sorry.
but
I guess they're allowed to be wrong.
I mean, I don't like Dark Disciples because I just think John Ostrander writes Quinlan Voss better. But that's more
Anyways.
comparing to some old legend stuff. But
Mhm.
my point is, yeah, if you don't like Bad Batch, and maybe the novel will work on its own merits, but I think you'll definitely enjoy it a lot more if you like
Mhm.
the Bad Batch and like these characters and
Yes.
kind of like this overall vibe. Again, it's not a galactic changing story,
Mhm.
but I think the author did a really good job with the limitations of okay, I have to set this in between the Palu episode and the finale. Obviously, we can't have too much change, and in reality, the story, the dramatic tales are of the new characters, and
Yeah.
the batch kind of is the ones who are
Mm.
helping them. Um, so obviously there are hints of obviously the future, and there's things with Crosshair that are teased, obviously because we know what's going to happen. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it. It was a fun little read,
Yeah.
and I liked it quite a bit. What about overall
Yeah.
thoughts?
It's like you're hitting it. It's the spectacular example of telling a story just big enough to be interesting, but within the limits of what has to happen next, and with an eye to what happens next. It's interesting. I didn't necessarily feel like it was an episode. I thought it really was a novel, and I think what you're referring to in terms of using the novel format well, in that getting into characters' heads. We
Mhm.
have Jordan's comment here. Uh, yeah, getting deeper look into their heads, and that's the thing a novel can do, right? You can
Right.
uh, actually take the time to do that introspection, in that you can actually hear and see what they're thinking, or read what they're thinking, or in our case, hear what they're thinking. And this is one of those ones. Like, I'm going to do the audiobook of this one, which is unusual. I don't often do the audiobook, but of course, I was in San Diego, and Marc Thompson broke out his perfect dead ringer of D. Bradley Baker for both Hunter and Wrecker. And
I just say his Hunter honestly sounds more like Zeb. Every time he talked about Hunter, I like sounds like Zeb.
I thought it sounded more like Wrecker, actually. Oddly enough, but anyway, it was still pretty spectacular. Anyway, and I mean, up to his usual heights of narrating, even when he's not, like, this is what Mark does. When he's narrating, and not just to quote him, narrating like what a character is thinking or feeling, he
Mhm.
still kind of sort of gets into their voice. Like Celia Moten, he puts on this kind of upper crust sort of demeanor, even if isn't doing the voice. Just those little touches, those little details were really, really brought this out as a novel. And yeah, like you said, it was and like I said at the top, it's just amazing. Lamar Giles have this amazing mix of fast-paced action that was really well written, really clear to see and visualize,
Mhm.
and the quiet introspective moments, and real exploration of vulnerability, and am I always right? Are you always right? Or are
Mhm.
you always wrong if you're my enemy? Kind of, like
Mhm.
not you literally, Joel, but like clones and separatists. you know,
Yeah, yeah.
so yeah, it was yeah, definitely really well done. I mean, I will say it definitely brought out what really works with this crew, which is a lot like the Michael Morrissey comic, actually. That is getting having a second arc
Oh,
to it.
nice.
Um, Ghost Agents and now Rogue Agents. That's set during the Clone Wars, but the mix of these characters, and yeah, they go off on in this novel. They go off on kind of different adventures, but that the fact that the way they come together, the way they complement each other, Wrecker being way deeper than I think we've ever seen him, for sure. Yeah, not
There's
I think,
definitely one good moment with Wrecker I really
but
appreciated.
also the comic relief,
Oh, yeah.
which is spot on. So yeah,
No, I
really
mean,
well.
again, I think, the strength of this
Mhm,
comes from the fact that well, I mean, I just think it's well written. That's
mhm.
kind of my theme this week is like, is it well
Yeah,
written? Like, you could talk about stakes and tie-ins and blah
sure.
blah blah. Is it well written? Like I mean, I don't want to go back to my old point, but it's like one
Mhm,
reason I still love Bloodlines, despite probably could have been cooler to not have it be made before the last two
mhm,
sequels, is I didn't think Claudia Gray's just a good author, right?
mhm,
Like, maybe if I was, maybe as sequel trilogy lore, like some things don't mix up anymore, but I still like it because it's Claudia Gray's a
mhm.
good author,
Yeah.
really good. She knows how to work her room. Uh, Same with this book, it's really well written. But again, I
Mhm.
think if you like the Bad Batch and if you like that show for 3 seasons and you like these
Yeah.
characters, you're gonna have a good time.
Mhm.
Um, I know, you know, I am more willing to be critical of the author, but I'm also kind of willing to say, like, yeah, I would probably recommend this to someone who's already watched the show.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, of course. Yeah. Like it wouldn't make sense if you. That's interesting. Would it make sense if you haven't? Uh,
yeah, there's still no,
no.
there's certain things I think that are very. You've read
Yeah.
the Bad Batch.
Like who's this V character or whatever?
What's this? What's up with Crosshair? Like, what's this? Why are people always every time Crosshair mentions there's like this tension,
Yeah.
right?
So.
Sort of like there's one line where Omega goes like, "I love all my
Mhm.
brothers." Except maybe Crosshair. I don't like him as much. He's a little intense.
Yeah.
And then I mean, do you remember that scene with? We're kind of going all over the place. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I want. Do you remember that scene with the dream of Cross that Hunter had, where he talking to
Yes.
Crosshair?
That was wild.
Like, that's a great moment, but I don't think that makes any sense if you haven't watched the show.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, let's get into it. Let's get into our characters. Let's talk
Mhm.
about the batch themselves because this is, I think,
Yes.
again.
And we're getting to spoiler territory now. So.
So yeah, spoilers.
Million.
Go away,
Mhm.
everyone who doesn't want to be spoiled.
Mhm.
Unless you're not going to read the book, then and don't care, which is fine.
Yeah.
Um, I'll talk about the batch first before we get into the new characters. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, again, as I said before, perfect. The author captured the characters'
Mhm.
voices quite well. Everyone from Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, Omega, V. Um, I think he did a good job of again, reminding me why I love these characters. Even though, again, like I said, he still can't. He can only progress them so far
Yeah.
because obviously we're still in the midst of season 2, and
Yeah.
obviously it was also kind of just sad a little bit. Was like, oh, Tech's here,
Mhm.
right? He doesn't come back. He actually dies.
Right.
Um, so it's like, oh yeah, this is still Tech time. Which, by the way,
Mhm.
loves getting some Tech V little moments,
Mhm.
but it also make me sad because like, oh damn. Um,
Mhm.
Again, I think we get a little more of Hunter and kind of his whole I'm not in charge of a military squad technically anymore, and he has to deal with
Yeah.
like I'm no longer in the war. Wrecker, I love the moment with Wrecker kind of talking about like I got layers. I like
Mhm.
exploding things and smashing things. I don't think he actually said that, but something like that. Kind
Something
of.
like that. Yeah.
But I like it because like for a hot minute, it's like no, I actually think Wrecker is a guy with layers and more serious than
Mhm.
just the smashy stuff. Um, Omega's fine. I definitely like seeing her. Actually, no, I think I like seeing her Omega's actually do her healing thing because that's something I don't think the show goes into. It's like yeah, she's technically like a medic, like she works in
Yeah,
the labs.
true. It was a good moment.
I think maybe she might be the. I don't want to say she's the weakest, but definitely like it's again one of those things where it's like she's the
Mhm.
star, but again because this is can only be so limited by the by the fact that this is kind of a I don't want to say like an overly long episode per se, but kind of in theory you can view it that way. Um, Again, the novel one's progress can only go so far.
Mhm.
But again, I think just the way it was executed, I thought was didn't bother me. Didn't bother me that I felt like
Mhm.
their their progress can only go so far. Which again is something I
Yeah.
think when it comes to books like these that are either
Mhm.
quasi tie-ins or in communication with, as I like how Mask of Fear is
Yeah.
in communication with Andor. It's not really a tie-in, but definitely talking to that.
Sure. Yeah.
The execution of like how far you can take the arc of the character,
Mhm.
even though we know where it's gonna go. I think worked out in this case, and I think that's a lot of it's just the talent of the author. But yeah, how did you feel about the batch overall and the characterizations and how
Yeah.
far they could go, being that they're still in their adventure?
Well, again, it was written with the rest of the show in mind, right?
Mhm.
That's the thing. Again,
But I'll counter you just a little bit. Um, it's written with the mess of the show in mind, but it's also written in between seasons, and this isn't
yeah.
like day one after season 3 ended or grown up Omega, her new adventures, right?
No,
It's like smack dab in the middle of the story
but
arc.
it was written, but it was written with an eye towards
Mhm,
uh what this batch's relationship to Pablo was going to be. It
mhm,
was written with an eye towards, are they actually going to settle there or not,
mhm,
and what they're going to be motivated to do for the galaxy. In this case, yeah, I mean, by and large, they end up settling right on Pabu
mhm,
at the end. Oh, sorry. All the Tech and V stuff is written with an eye towards him dying, right? Yeah,
yeah,
that's the thing that it adds this sort of, it adds this thing of you want to see more of this kind of this blossoming romance
mhm,
that gets cut short because that's what happens with soldiers. I mean, good soldiers don't always follow orders. Good
right.
soldiers can risk their lives for the things they believe in.
Mhm,
And so, and for the people they love. And that, yeah, with Tech, I mean, just because we didn't get, we got a little bit of that in season 2. We got a little bit of the dynamic between them.
mhm,
At least the suggestion, right?
right.
V flirting with him.
Mhm,
But here again, we get into his Tech's head and say, oh, he likes it. He just doesn't fully know what to do with it because he hasn't been socialized to know what to do with that. Whereas V does know what to do with that.
mhm,
But also just how well they are for each other. She's so, I don't want to say loose. Like she's in the like relax and chill. She can be. Um, but forward, very forward in emotions forward, especially with Tech. And Tech is immediately, I calculate the odds of this thing succeeding. He's like almost a droid, even though he's not a droid at all. Uh, and so it was just to see V not be offended that he didn't immediately respond to her advances, and yeah, it was a lot of meat on the bone there. So that was really well thought out, and again, glad we got the time to do this in a novel. There's that. Yeah, I mentioned Wrecker having these layers. I mean, it's funny he makes this joke, I have layers, but then we actually see him uh you really know how to handle Hunter. And I thought the most interesting, one of the most interesting dynamics. I mean, Hunter is the most interesting character of this book, oddly enough. Like I think there's a lot. They're able to for a story that again is set in this little pocket of time of these characters that we've already seen what happens after them. They really did a lot with Hunter's character in a lot of change, a lot of things he faced, and for V to be a catalyst for that, for Sohai especially to be a catalyst for that. Sorry, I should posture here. For Sohai, yeah, especially to be a catalyst for his arc, and we'll get into that a bit, but we'll get into Hunter later. But with the way Wrecker, this one scene I remember very clearly. He's taking a nap, and Hunter and V are arguing over should we go pick up this couple, which of course turns to set off the whole story, and Hunter really struggling with not being in command anymore, and Wrecker just knowing to get up and to have a quiet presence.
Mhm.
Oddly enough, it's that side of him, almost like he's not the drunk uncle, he's the wise uncle, right? He's
Right.
I know how to, like kind of old man strength in that way, but in the emotional core of saying, let's give them space, but also be there to be a solid presence, and of course, him and Omega have that carries the banter between them, the playfulness carries through, and then Omega, being able to get in, and like you said, remembering she's a medic, she knows how to take care of clones in a way that this doctor doesn't fully, because how would he compared to what she knows on Camino. And so with Koru, knowing how to take care of Koru and how to save both Koru and Sohai's life, it's with an eye towards, we're gonna see, season 3, she's thrust into this horrible situation that she's on her own, right? Like these other kids are there, but she's the oldest and wisest of them. She's the one who actually gets out and gets everyone out. And like Jordan's comment, confidence, stepping up and healing others. That only grows from there. That her independent initiative to step in and be the glue, right?
Actually, that makes a good point. Since we're talking about Omega, this book also, this is another thing you talk about in terms of it's God's eye towards towards the end. There's a great moment where Omega's like, Hunter and Omega talking, like, do you want to live on Pabu? And she's kind of like, well, kinda, yeah, And I think they're really, that's another great thing, is that this book also kind of is allowed to kind of, sow the seeds of like that epilogue moment where grown up Omega is leaving and Hunter just, obviously Hunter lets her go. The Jedi way of letting go and moving on and blah blah blah. But also, Hunter's like, I don't know if I don't know if I want her to let her go. Obviously she will. He ain't gonna be possessive, which just shows a lot of Hunter's strength.
Yeah.
But it's like, this is my kid, and she's gonna grow up one day and go fight in the rebellion and be in danger. Even though I'm now the old veteran who's like, needs my rest, but I don't want to necessarily let go. And it's like, I like the moment, and also make it like, I want us all to be together, which is very much her thing. Which I thought was a very cute moment as well. So I think that's also why Omega's the way that she is in this book, because they kind of know, like, she's gonna go off and join the rebellion one day.
Yeah, and this double-edged sword for Hunter of the more he trains her, the more he encourages her, the more he sees in her, the more she's gonna need to and want to contribute to the galaxy in dangerous ways. That's the paradox of parenting. One of the paradoxes of parenting is that they grow up, and the more amazing they are, you got to actually experience things to know what to do with all that. So yeah, it's all those dynamics. Interesting. Now that I think of it, it isn't so much that we see the batch all together.
We don't. I forgot Echo was a part of the Bad Batch for a whole season. He's not
yeah. Well, even the ones that are current in this time, we don't really see them together much. We see different pairings that are really effective, and so it was really well. So it's a nice contrast, interestingly, to Michael Morrissey's comic and to a lot of things on the show that we see all the batch together. And the show does a great job with that. Michael Morrissey's comic does a great job of having the batch together. Again, that's set earlier. That's set during the Clone Wars. But here let's explore pairings of how these different characters connect to each other and relate to each other. So even again, like Hunter and V at Loggerheads was fascinating. Yeah.
No, I agree. I think the batch was handled quite brilliantly. Do you want to get into the new characters?
Yes.
Now I forgot some of the names of the new characters, so you're gonna have to remind me. Brain always works, but if the batch were well written, then the new characters I thought were spectacular. I'm gonna keep hammering this because I think this might be our big. I don't want to say our fundamental disagreement, but I do think this is something that I always want to bring up. And some of this is subjective, of course, but it's all about execution. It's all about how you execute a story.
I don't disagree with that.
Now whether or not what stories you think were better, well executed, everyone's got their different opinions, for certain. But I always just feel like, because I remember actually, I don't even think Chris might have talked about this in the book too. Because I think I remember talking about before the book how he was a little disappointed, like, oh, it's not after season 3, it's before, like why are we telling a story in between seasons 2 and no, in between episodes of season 2? I remember some people just in general like, oh, really? But again, this is where I think execution is key. Conceptually, it might not be that interesting, but actually, execution wise, now really interesting. Now it's become interesting. And if the Bad Batch were well executed, then these new characters I thought were stellar. So High, Crane. What's the clone's name again?
Ponder.
I knew it was something. Something Ponder. Oh, what was the crazy Imperial moth lady's name?
Oh, still Celia Moten.
Celia. They're all great. Which is again. I think this is the strength of the novel. Where you can do this with, you can't do this in a 22 episode thing like this. No. If you were to do this for the depth for these characters, you probably need a whole season, if not 2 or 3 or 4 episodes, at best, maybe at minimum. But with a novel, because you can get into their heads, you can pace it slower. You can have an entire arc with all these new characters. The point where it's like I'm more interested in them even than the batch themselves at times.
Yeah.
And So High and Crane being these spies, and I thought it's interesting because like they're not even Imperial spies. They're technically separatist spies, but it sounds like they're just spies. It sounds like they're independent contractors who work for the highest bidder. And then So High's whole story with the clones. I guess now we know clones can reproduce naturally. A Django clone baby. That's adorable. Ponder. I was awesome. Shoot, I forgot the crazy Imperial names again. What's her name?
Celia Moten.
Celia Mota. She was crazy. I loved her. I loved how she just kept like, oh yes, Sheev, my good friend Sheev.
So I have a question for you. Do you think she actually has a friendship with Palpatine and the Vizier, forgetting his name?
Masameda?
Yeah, that guy. Or is she full of it?
I'm gonna be honest. I thought she was full of it the whole time. Um,
Yeah.
but clearly she annoyed him enough for the ending.
Yeah.
But
We'll get to
that,
at the
although
end.
to be
Yeah.
fair, that was because she was poking her nose at certain battle stations she's not supposed to know about.
Right.
Um, but
Mhm.
that was also a nice tie-in, by the way.
Yes.
Um, but no, I think they were all great. Shoot, I thought, hang on, I was gonna say something for half a second. Oh yeah, my favorite moment with these characters is when Ponder was telling the backstory of her and the Sohai. And
Mhm.
I told you about this a little bit where I'm like, oh, get to this chapter. This is a good one.
Mhm.
And it's the story of like how they were gonna defect and now they're gonna tell themselves over to the Jedi just as Order 66
Yeah.
got um got
Happened.
executed.
Mhm.
And that was such a great moment. I loved all of it. But yeah, what'd you make of the new characters?
I mean, the fascinating thing about that moment is you have this galaxy defining event,
Mhm.
and here's another very personal effect of it, very personal moment. You know, the with Sohai and Ponder, so this uh the them well their story really inspired our whole conversation a few weeks ago on successor states, because again,
And who
this
really
is
won the Clone
and who
Wars?
run the Clone Wars.
Mhm.
Clearly, Sohai and Ponder lost the Clone Wars together. Um, but yeah, again, to dig in and see, okay, what if there's this spy sort of connected to the Separatists, and what if she's embedded in a senator and falls in love with a clone? I mean, there's a great uh, callback, explicit callback to I forget what his name is, the clone with the Twi'lek.
Oh, I shoot.
Yeah,
Not Clegane. That's somebody else.
no, yeah,
Shoot.
yeah. We know who I'm talking about, but
Yeah.
it'll come to me. It'll come to us. And they mention, I think Omega mentions him. It's like, oh yeah, just like him. And yeah, that really callback. But then this evolves that, like you said, to say, yeah, clones they can reproduce. I mean, I don't know why. Was there ever a question of whether or not
Cut
they
LaQuaine.
could
There we go.
cut the
Cut.
queen? Yes, you're
Mhm.
close. Yeah, and how? Yeah, I mean that you another clone going beyond his programming to do something other than fight, right? Actually, the opposite of fighting the enemy, uh, and not just sleeping with the enemy, but really committing his life to her. I mean, they use the phrase marriage for whatever that's worth. Which I think there's an interesting episode, marriage in Star Wars. We could do
I'm sorry.
something on that.
I don't
That's a
know.
good. Um, yeah, and so yeah, I mean, Ponder even with the disguise, because if he takes off the disguise, kind of like Boba Fett in
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett, like they'll recognize me. I look kind of familiar, which of course is a very prequelist thing to recognize, right? That of course everyone will know the clones. Whereas, if this was written 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people will be like, well, definitely not 30 years ago, but 20 years, like 15 years ago, be like, they probably wouldn't even thought of that. But that's a whole other conversation. Um, I think, yeah, Sohai and Crane. I mean, Crane's another fascinating thing of, okay, and he joins the Empire because, I mean, he's going to the highest bidder in the
Mhm.
ISB, and he's poking around too. But of course, he gets what's coming to him as well
I
because
I just want
all
to
that.
say.
Yeah,
I just want to say. I like though how even though he's with the ISB, he has no loyalty to it, and it's like by the end he's
right.
like, I don't want to be around the ISB. These guys are all just a bunch of political lackeys. They're all
Hmm.
incompetents.
Yeah,
Why would I waste my talents with these chuckleheads?
he's kind of like wow, Luthen in a way, right? Just this very focused, razor edge focus. But if Luthen, I mean, Luthen gets sort
Was
of he
crueler
toes the
and
line.
nastier than what?
Yeah, but yeah, Crane and Sohai, like Luthen and wow, I'm not good with names tonight.
Clay?
Clea, yeah, Luthen and Clea. similar kind of thing, right? Of just being
I thought Crane was more crueler too, so
yeah,
high where
definitely.
there was, although,
Yeah. But still this ruthless razor focused
mm-hmm.
kind of
That Lucen I think
tone
had
line.
better morals.
He does, yes. But again, I'm talking about the character more.
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Crane is sort of if Lamar Giles wrote Crane as the sort of dark side Luthen in a way.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that that kind of again razor focused on the mission, on the goals, and distrustful of all the lackeys around him. That kind of thing. And the way Sohai has to transcend her programming. I'm just getting to that. Like Ponder transcending his.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Bad Batch had different programming as already, so that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But Sohai transcending her programming that Crane pushed into her. Yeah, she can be a ruthless assassin and spy, but when she's pregnant, she is job number one is to protect this baby. Oh,
What happened? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Well, I knew this would happen. He's in this gun Kaputski. You went kaput. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. I love So High. She kind of, when you mention that, she's kind of like a Mara Jade type, a little bit. Like, it's not the same thing, and obviously Luke and Mara don't have a baby before. Hang on, folks. Oh, dang, we got a power outage. Oh, that's not good. Apparently, Matthew had a power outage at his house. That is not good at all. Oh no. Um, Maybe Matthew can call in from his phone. Let me ask him that. On the stream yard. But what was I gonna say? Uh, ooh, shoot, this is weird, folks. The show must go on. Ah, but but no, I kind of remember Jade like in the way as well. Uh, Technical difficulties, folks. Well, we'll get to that. Let me go through some of the comments. For me, it felt like such a great way to revisit the Bad Batch and get a deeper look into their head. I mean, we went through that. Yep. It was nice seeing her confidence shine. Set up oh yeah, we talked about Omega. Always gets these weird. Always get these weird ads on the comments. But yeah. Um. Let's see. What else could I talk about? Let me go through my notes while I'm here. But while I'll do that, we'll get back to So High when if Matthew comes back, unless the power goes out for a while, which would not be good, because I don't want to do the show by myself for the next 30 minutes. Let's talk about Celia Moten for a half a second. She's crazy, but I like her. Yeah, I kind of think she was full of herself when she's talking about Sheev and being friends with the Emperor and whatnot. Though she kind of felt like she knew him. But I'm going to be honest, I still think she was very. I think she might have over exaggerated her loyalty. Up. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Up. Oh. Well, he's here, but he's circling. Hello. Are you using your phone? Nope. Um. Oh, that is weird. Dang it. But anyway, what I think. Yeah, I think it was a little weird. I don't want to talk about the moment just yet because I'm trying to see if Matthew comes back. But I liked how her and Crane were together. And there was kind of this tit for tat kind of. Uh, uh,
there we go.
Oh, thank heavens.
The breaker tripped.
Oh gosh, I was afraid there was gonna be like a massive power outage and like.
No, just this room.
Oh, thank heavens. Anyway, I was talking about Celia for a moment, but I'm gonna go back and revert myself. I was thinking kind of weirdly. We're talking about like an assassin and whatnot. It's like, I wonder if the author, the Mara Jade fan, is like. I mean, Mara Jade became a mom before she was an assassin. Obviously, she and Luke didn't have a baby their first time appearing. That happened many books later, and I don't think that was ever planned. But it's like, I don't know, it kind of reminded me a little. I mean, in the obviously Mars trainer was the Emperor himself.
Well,
So,
that's different. Yeah.
but that's kind of the vibe I got. But maybe that's again just badass assassin.
Mhm.
That's Mara's thing. Although Mara
Yeah.
was also a total imperial zealot at first before realizing, oh, maybe
Mhm.
the Empire wasn't that great. Well, Sohai was just kind of like, well, I'm in it for the spying and the money,
Mhm.
or at least the spying. I don't actually know what Crane and Sohai's like official organizations were. It seems they
They
had
seem
loyalty
it seems
to
kind of
everybody.
independent, actually. I don't know.
Another difference between Lucen and
Yes.
Crane is Lucen at least was loyal to the rebellion, even if he was kind of on the
Yeah.
outs. Definitely had the cause.
Yeah. Again, I'm not saying similarities. I mean, in terms of
Mhm.
kind of the wider context, I just mean in terms of
Yeah.
some character, just the way they go about things. But yeah, there's definitely
No.
differences for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So after that, I was talking about just more Celia
Hmm.
Moten or uh,
Yeah.
because of like, yeah, you're probably right. I think she was kind of full of herself, but I found her kind of fascinating in terms of this crazy. She sees herself as a god.
Yeah.
That was weird, but I thought it was kind of cool as well.
Hmm.
How she sees Palpatine as a god, which Palpatine sees himself as a god, obviously.
Well, that's true.
Um, I thought she was interesting as someone who's kind of like trying to set herself up,
Mhm.
only to realize, oh, I'm kind of a nothing compared to like the real
Mhm.
powerhouses of the empire. Did you anything you want to talk about Celia Moten?
Well, I mean, first of all, again, really well written, brilliantly acted by Mark Thompson, Mark the Canon legend. Um, yeah, really, we haven't seen many characters like her, right? These wealthy magnates who, I mean, we've heard of characters who, these wealthy folks in the core who love the empire because it makes them rich. And I mean, the Death Star is making her rich.
Is
It's
she
helping
supposed
make
to
her
be
rich, so
like
she's already rich.
a play on Elon Musk or something? You think? Someone once. I know there was one character.
I don't think so. Um, because because she's probably full of it with the whole name drop, whereas Musk wasn't full of it. I mean, it's more just the big construction magnates, almost like Trump himself, right? In a way, but far more articulate, intelligent than the Donald. Yeah, it's someone who wants to use her economic power, financial power, to weasel her way into being a Moff, or a governor rather, and um, which is odd because she seems. I mean, if I think she kind of does have a relationship with Sheev, but if she's out of it, she's full of it. She's out of touch in the sense that governors are military leaders. I cannot see her in a uniform, right?
To be fair, Palpatine, it's known in the Empire, Palpatine appointed a lot of mobs who probably should not have been, who were not military leaders. They were political favors or.
Interesting. Okay, because my image of even Governor Price, for example, I mean, she wears an imperial, a military uniform.
I think in the
She
Thrawn novel, she's not a military leader. She just got good connections and
sure,
savvy politics.
but she can
Tarkin's
kick
a military.
butts. Yeah,
In fact, actually, in
yeah,
Legends, I
yeah.
don't know if this is true in canon, it probably is, but like the
Yeah.
Grand Admirals, most of them are political appointees who have no idea, like,
Mhm.
who just like do not. But I mean, but also here's the thing:
Interesting.
this is something I think we got to remember about authoritarian regimes. It's not about merit; it's about who you
Yeah,
know. Sure, sometimes you get a
yeah,
military leader like Tarkin. Other times it's like, well, I donated a lot of money to the campaign. Make me an ambassador to this
sure.
country.
I mean, that
Make
happens everywhere, but
make me a military governor, even though I'm, you
yeah,
know, not probably suited for it. Like, that's you just appoint your cronies and your friends.
yeah, maybe. Okay, like I said, but I think if I could see if it. Here's the thing: if it was more real, it was telegraphed that her ambitions were not realistic by the way she cower. Whenever when the Bad Batch would show up, or when Tech and V were on her ship, she like uh, you bodyguard person, a personal assistant, forget his name, uh, take care of this, clean this up. I'm gonna go run and hide. You know, at least telegraphing that her like she was full of it and wouldn't be able to handle anything that would come her way. You know, again, the first sign of trouble poking at the Death Star plans. She and not just the plans, the actual building contracts.
Yeah.
Uh, she gets taken out, and we can talk about that in a bit. But yeah, I thought she was very delicious character. I'll put it that way. She's very swarmy. You know, I mean, having these what a layer of having collecting all these religious artifacts and posing as an actual adept of this ancient religion with the mortar thing and saying no, I just want to collect these things. What a layer there just to be have her exorbitant wealth go to this very frivolous thing that also feeds in to her. I mean, does she even believe this? The whole kind of we're gods, kind of this self mythologizing.
I'm willing to think she does because I think rich people like that are just crazy in that sense.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, or if anything, it's a sort of mythologizing, but a metaphorical mythologizing, right? Like it's as if we're gods because we're just above everyone. And that is, I mean, that is a theme that runs through Star Wars, right? I mean, that's the thing with Coruscant is there's this upper layer that is one whole planet, and then there's the lower decks, the underworld, that is this whole other planet, and that never the two twin shall meet. And yeah, we see get into her head, into her mind in a way. I mean, in some ways, yes, the literal narration of, oh, this is beneath me. I'm so beneath this thing, or what this. I'm so above this task is beneath me. But also just the way she acts, even the setup with all her different building enterprises, and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I kind of want uh something set maybe before this or earlier, or maybe decades earlier, and seeing maybe go into this whole thing with how she's found her way into all these Death Star contracts. That'd be a fascinating, almost like a mobster movie or a mobster story, where, like you say, like it's who you know and getting all these contracts. I mean, it's the thing survives well enough to destroy Jeddah and Alderaan, you know, and it's only an intentional thing that Galen Erso pops in there. So yeah, it seemed it's a well built machine, the Death Star, but obviously preferential contract, and so we see behind the preferential contracts, and yeah, it was yeah, really, yeah, really a really juicy, delicious character. I mean, Crane was also another juicy, delicious villain. Again, well acted by Marc Thompson. We've talked about Crane already, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Did we get into Ponder enough? Did we?
I think so. I think kind of mentioned transcending programming and whatnot.
Yeah. Want to talk about focus on Hunter in particular?
Yes. Let's dive into Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Hunter definitely had a lot of good moments. This whole book, kind of trying to be a leader, but also realizing, hey, you're no longer in the war. Also, kind of struggling with like the sides are the sides you knew no longer exist. Everyone's kind of now all over the place.
Yeah.
Former separatists are now just against the empire or for the empire, and I think Hunter is kind of like, what do I do? My whole world, I've only known one world, and it's gone now, and now it's just been replaced by this weird third thing. And I thought a lot of it was really good. And of course, I like I like the moment where he has his dream
Yeah.
with Crosshair, which sort of just signals like, hey, there's stuff to come
Hmm.
still. I still think he feels guilty about all that and how that went
Hmm.
down. And
Right.
obviously with Omega,
Right.
he's thinking about her future. And yeah, Hunter's great, but I think you
Mm.
really want to talk about Hunter. So what do you
Yeah.
think of this book?
This was a surprising level of depth. Again, it was for a novel featuring a main character set in the middle here. Again, this is a theme. We're going to say this every darn week.
Mm,
The show's over, the story's over. I mean, we can see more of Hunter, but now we can go back and see this transition moment of why does he go from wanting to constantly be on the run, on the move, and protecting Omega to say, okay, yeah, we can ultimately settle down on Pabu. Why does he, or just saying, what is it like for a soldier to transition from the Clone Wars, or for a clone to transition from the Clone Wars to not necessarily the Rebel Alliance, but this whole
to be a
life in
civilian,
to be a civilian, to be life in the Empire. And I thought, seeing So High and encountering her, and knowing her past, and seeing one of his brothers, seeing Ponder
Mhm.
do the unthinkable, like the height of treachery, because think of it, his he spent the last 3 years and was literally programmed. No, yeah, I mean, his brain chemistry is programmed to go and fight and kill separatists and destroy their droids. And he did that time and time again. And that has an effect, clone or not. That has an effect on your brain. We see, talking about police brutality. Why does police brutality happen? It's because uh, these cops are trained and ingrained that the these other folks are the enemy. For example, why is it so hard for soldiers to reintegrate into civilian life? Because it's called PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, stress disorder, right?
Mhm.
They're they're wired now. This war rewires them to be on this alert defensive posture for anyone who has, in Sohai's case, has caused the deaths of his team, his brothers, or just might in the future. And you don't know. And that's the thing about traumas, can be, it's often a misappropriation. And so to see Hunter have to go through that, and to see by seeing, through seeing So High carrying what, okay, so Mega gets immediately that that Koru is one of them, is family, meaning So High is family, meaning anyone can be family. Hunter or Omega, that's Omega again. She's the glue that holds
Mhm.
everyone together.
Mhm.
And having seeing that through Hunter, and reluctantly at first, very reluctantly at first, picking them up on the planet, um, going through, reluctantly taking them where they need to go. And she's pregnant. Are you kidding me? He's a clone. Are you kidding me? And having to push himself through that again, because Omega and Tech and Wrecker are all able to move past their programming, their experiences. Of course, Omega never fought in the Clone Wars, which helps. But
That too.
um, like, she never fought in a battle, at least. To push through that and actually, at the end, come down on the side of, okay, yeah, let's introduce them, let's invite them to take them to Pabu. And I love saying Omega giving him a hug at the end and say, yeah, kid, this is for you to go tell them the good news, and giving them sanctuary, right? It
Sanctuary.
letting, effectively letting, he has let this separatist into his home, and yeah, so that and into this incredibly secure again sanctuary, this place probably a place meant to be a place of safety, that we see how much lengths, I mean, even V goes through to protect its location and identity from Celia, for example. um we saw that in the beginning. At the end,
Hmm.
yeah, Ponder Sohai Koru, come on, raise your kid here. There. So that was incredible story arc in this novel, that we don't necessarily get much of on screen. I think we get some of the things implied and later on, but I mean the story in season 3 just goes off in this other direction, right? With Project Necromancer and all that. But um so to get this arc in this novel, it's brilliant to move a character so far, move actually what's become a legacy-ish character so far, was spectacular, and very clearly plotted out, but very movingly plotted out too. So that yeah, you touched on, yeah, again, this thing of settling on Pabu and transitioning out of, I mean, that's the thing with Rexy. He joins the Rebel Alliance. He fights. He goes. Yeah, him and Gregor and Wolf end up camping out on that walker for who knows how long. But he joins the fight. The Bad Batch, oddly enough, are the ones who go and settle down.
Hmm.
Yeah, that whole thing. I mean, the struggle with V that you mentioned, of not always being the one to call the shots, because that's another thing that he's gotten so used to, that served them so well, right? We see the first time we see the Bad Batch in that Clone Wars arc, he's calling these shots. He's calling, plan whatever it is, Wrecker, grab the door, make a bulwark, and all, whatever, just the mission.
Hmm.
And the saying, making these arrangements on the side, and how, I mean, she's not even part of the Bad Batch, but he's the only one who, Hunter's the only one who has a problem with it. And yeah, him again pushing himself through with the help, not with the help and the patience of Omega and Wrecker, especially, even talking it out with the, yeah, and that Omega's the one who names it, right? Who names all these things. And she's the one, she has the place to, more than anyone, to be the one to name these things, of, trusting in this separatist, and settling down and saying, no, we're not a military squad. I mean, Wrecker says that too, but also we're a team among, you're one among a team. You're not the leader necessarily anymore. We're all gonna decide things together, and just a different way of leading a war, or of being or not being in a war, right? I mean,
Right.
again, during the Clone Wars, he needed to be the one to call the shots in the moment. You got to be able to make the call, and he
Hmm.
could really well.
Hmm.
Just that. So that's another thing, is he's not always the one making the best call. Someone else could make a better call, and so they do. So yeah, again, massive credit to Lamar Giles. Even the way Marc Thompson gets the grit and the frustration through, and then softens him.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's surprising. It's surprising from main character of a screen property to get this much development in a novel. I was pleasantly surprised.
No, I agree. I think again, it's just the talent of the author, and I think
Hmm.
just working within those limits
Hmm.
really helped. And I know you're right. Actually, that's something I didn't think about. Hunter kind of doesn't. I mean, the Batch doesn't really deal with the other side. Oh no, I mean, no, wait. There's that one episode with the with the Raxus governor. I think like once who they have to rescue. Who was the governor Raxus Prime,
Mm.
voiced by Dr. Bashir from DS9.
Oh, really? Alexander Siddig.
Yeah.
Oh, the like the separatist prime minister, effectively. right?
No, he wasn't the prime minister. He was just the governor of Raxus.
Okay, which was the capital. Yeah.
Yeah. And then later they meet Senator
Mhm.
Tucci later
Yeah.
on. But no, yeah. They deal with that. Yeah, there isn't a lot of like just kind of dealing with like former commanders or people who probably really have done a lot more
Mhm.
damage. When they go to Dooku's castle, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So no, you're absolutely right. That's a good point. I didn't think about that. I
Mhm.
like that moment a lot. No, I think that's something this book really can get in deeper with
Mhm.
Hunter.
Yeah.
And so it's like by the time we get to the end, he's already ready to go.
Yeah.
Um, we talked a lot about characters and stuff. Trying to think about anything else, really. I feel like we've hit a lot of the good points. So you want to talk about the ending?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I mean, we talk about the actual ending with Sohai and Ponder and them, but there's another ending. Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about the other ending first. So yeah, Celia, she's poked her nose in the Death Star a little too much, and the Emperor's like, "Well, okay, you want my attention? Here you go." And then he sends one of his emissaries, and was reading the chapter like emissary. I'm like, oh, oh.
Yes.
Then,
The Cisco.
yep, Vader
Mhm.
cameo. I guess
Yeah.
technically the only Vader cameo that's Bad Batch related.
True.
Which, by the way, the show goes. I'm very happy that the Vader
Yeah.
cameo there was no Vader cameo. I'm glad they held off on Vader for Bad Batch.
Mhm.
Tarkin shows up quite a few times, but I think that's fair. Uh, but no, this is a fun Vader cameo.
Mhm.
This is the epitome of a Vader cameo. He shows up,
Yes.
he does his thing, and then that's it. It's cool shock value.
Mhm.
I like it. I just think it's cool.
Mhm.
I think it's like okay, it's like she wants to deal with the higher ups of the Empire. Well, this is what she got to deal with. And oh boy, did she
Mhm.
not handle it well? She's probably dead
I
at
mean,
this.
how do you handle that well?
I know by
Yeah.
making it out alive with only a little bit of your dignity intact, I guess. Yeah, but no,
Mhm.
that was cool. I
Yeah.
liked it. Our friend Chris was like talking about. I started to talk about this moment. Like, I haven't seen this moment. Did I miss it? And like,
Yeah. Oh,
oh,
that moment.
that
Yeah.
was fun.
Uh, I mean, it's certainly the only force moment in the whole thing. It's the only lightsaber in the whole thing. Just for a minute. I mean, that's the thing about these different pockets of Star Wars. Something you connect back. I mean, it's Rogue One, right? It's both of his cameos in Rogue One just combined,
Pretty much,
effectively.
yeah.
And how awesome those are, and how sparing and small those are.
Mhm,
I would interesting. Even the audiobook is this great job of delaying the reveal,
mhm,
not as much, right? It delays the reveal uh, until partway through. I think at the end, only at the very end in the novel, in the paper novel,
mhm,
that it's Vader conclusively. She doesn't know the name Darth Vader. But even the audiobook, I mean, they bring the breathing in about halfway through, of course, the voice.
yeah.
And I think Marc Thompson's done Vader another thing before. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
it's
So that
interesting. I'll just say it's interesting. It's kind of funny how Palpatine actually appears in the Bad Batch proper, and then in
yeah.
this book, it's Vader. I just
I
think it's
mean
funny.
that's the thing all about stakes, right? Underlying uh that she really is poking around the Death Star,
Mhm,
right? And the someone who is wealthy enough, powerful enough to do some damage in
mhm.
exposing this, because we know how much they want to expose the Death Star. No, it was a mining accident on Jeddah, you know. Uh
It's all
yeah, so it was yeah, it brought a seriousness to it, and it kind of in retrospect playing back, it shows fully conclusively just how ridiculous the Celia character is in a great way, in a brilliant way, and really
oh yeah,
well written, but wonderfully juicily ridiculous in her ambitions. I mean, she's choking on her aspirations, right? I'm bringing these parallels up because, I mean, yeah, there's something of Krennic in her,
I've
but
always
different
felt
because
Bad
she's
Batch had a very Rogue One vibe
yeah,
sometimes. It's,
but yeah, she's this wealthy magnate who tries to throwing Sheev's weight around, Sheev's name around. Like you said, I mean, he's been paying attention to her this whole time, and I mean, we know that we're gonna bombard her compound, but yeah, for the enforcer to come and take care of business, clean up the mess. Yeah, again, it reminds us again of the place of this Bad Batch crew in the wider galaxy, and that there is this wider story, this wider canon to keep an eye on. See what I did there? That
I
that can be very real for these characters, and yeah,
no,
it was wonderful.
I agree, and I think that Bad Batch I think overall did such a great job with its what I call legacy characters, which are just Vader, the Emperor, kind of the big film characters of
Yeah.
the saga films
Sorry.
themselves, where they were used sparingly, they were used quite brilliantly. Palpatine shows up during the Senate moment to get his stormtroopers, and then he kind of appears in Episode 3 to Mount Tantus to be like, you're working
Yeah.
on something very important. Something that I have to come and visit myself to make sure we're all good. To the point where like not even like someone like I think even to the point where like not even Tarkin or Vader probably know what's going on here. I wouldn't be surprised if Vader actually doesn't know what's happening on Mount Tantus, and
No. Yeah.
Tarkin knows it exists. He just doesn't know what it's about.
Sure.
Probably doesn't need to know. It's on a need to know basis, and you don't.
I mean, he doesn't even know where all these Joanium shipments are going. So
Yeah, and I think here it's like it's a good use of the cameo characters of just she's not important enough for the Emperor himself to deal with. So it's like, but the Death Star is still something that's at the top of the billing of Palpatine's important list. So it's like send Vader to just deal with it. I like.
And also keep in mind, this is set only 2 years after Revenge of the Sith, right?
I want to say it's 1 year, but I might be wrong.
Or just very, very shortly after, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like this is still early days for the Death Star. It's just that basically no more of that skeleton we see at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Vader was just Anakin a year before, right? He was,
right.
And so he wants to impress. So I don't know. I mean, that doesn't bear as much weight as something like Charles Soule's Run or Lords of the Sith, but
that's because that's a Vader story. This is just a Vader cameo.
Yeah, and so, but even at this point, probably one of the first times Palpatine sends him out to clean up some mess. So yeah,
it was
a great moment. Great. Again, it's a textbook classic. Young authors should take note. This is how you write a Star Wars novel in relation to screen stories that does enough. I mean, or does so much without stepping on anything else's toes. And even this little cameo, it worked really well. It wasn't out of place. I will say, I thought at first, before the reveal, before the breathing, I thought, was this an Inquisitor? Is she big enough potatoes for Vader? Is this just because it's a red lightsaber? Could be an Inquisitor. I wonder if that in one draft one thought it was just an Inquisitor. Not that Inquisitors necessarily go for rebels or for rebels. I mean, have the Inquisitorius been established yet? At this point, I don't quite.
I think
remember.
so. I think the Inquisitors have always sort of.
Oh yeah, because why am I'm terrible with names in Tales of the Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's already there, so yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Inquisitors just go for Jedi and political machinations, something that Vader has to deal with too. Vader has to deal with everything. Inquisitors just are Jedi focused. But no, I mean it was good. I don't think every story needs a big name cameo all the time. But yeah, I think just for the fun of it, it was cool. I think it earned it by the end. But yeah, let's get to the real ending, and then we can wrap up after.
Yeah, which we kind of touched on already. But go ahead.
I like how I love the tech basically takes all her money and gives
Oh
it to
yeah, that's
Babu.
fun.
Dude, that was great,
That's smart.
and just kind of now they have a little sanctuary for
Mm-hmm.
them to kind of live out peace,
Mm-hmm.
at least for a while.
Yeah.
I thought,
Um. Yeah. Again, smart. I mean, helps understand why Pablo can do so well under those circumstances. All
mhm,
this flood of cash that hopefully they're able to
mhm.
work through. But um, yeah, or hopefully manage well. But yeah, it was fun. Again, the main ending thing for me of welcoming this family to the island and
Mhm.
saying, okay, I wonder how many more that this can be a refuge for folks. Hopefully, the Empire never finds out about it.
I
Hopefully,
think
the
they
new
tech
Empire.
I think they
So,
technically did in season 3, but I think it was like
yeah,
the fleet that only goes to Mount Tantus, so
yeah,
I think no one else did.
yeah. Interesting. Yeah, no, it was really. I mean, brings the title to the fore, like you mentioned. Really wraps up the story, and yeah, I mean everyone's arc, Hunter's arc, and yeah, on a good note, on a high note. I mean, we need that, right? I was kind of like the moment Chris was like, is Sohai gonna die? Is she
I
gonna
thought
give
she was
herself back
gonna
to
die.
Crane or something? No, it's on a high note, ends on a high note, which was nice.
I got worried for So High. I thought she was
Yeah,
gonna die a couple times.
yeah,
It's like, oh no, is this baby not gonna have a mom? It's
hmm
like, I mean, nothing
yeah,
against single dads who have to raise their kids, of course, but it's like, oh, I
yeah,
don't want this to be tragic.
yeah. It would have been
Um,
tragic. Yeah,
but no, it's like I'm glad they let both So High and Ponder get to
hmm
raise a family together.
yeah,
Uh, so yeah, I think that should do it.
hmm
Final thoughts overall. Again, I really liked it. I thought it was a well-written book.
hmm
Again, this is kind of like, like again, this is kind of where I've always talked about conception over execution. Where it's like,
yeah,
if you had just told me the conception of this book, I would have been like, okay.
mm,
In between seasons 2 and 3,
yeah,
okay, it just seems like a big adventure. And to some extent, it is.
hmm
But I just think it was really well executed, and the new characters were so good.
yeah,
And the storyline which these new characters go through and the batch help them go through is so good. And the batch themselves get really good moments that it's like it goes from, oh, okay, this is an interesting concept, I
hmm
guess, to, oh yeah, this is really good. This is like this is it's one of those things where like I don't want to call it just an extended episode of the Bad Batch, but certainly like a 3 or 4 part arc in a novel that uses the novel
yeah,
format to its advantage in getting inside everyone's head. So, 'cause when I say that, it's like it has the tone of the Bad Batch. It's maybe a little
yeah.
darker, but definitely like I feel like I'm watching the show in a good way.
Okay,
When
I see what you
when
mean. In the yeah, e-
like I don't feel like I'm not. I don't feel like this is like a different show when I'm watching the
mhm,
Bad Batch. And again, maybe a little darker in some places where you can get away with it.
mhm.
But again, I feel like this is the tone of the Bad Batch. I don't feel like this is the more like the book is the serious Bad Batch. We're the grown-ups.
True. Yeah,
Um,
it's it's of a piece with
yeah,
that story. Yeah.
yeah. So I like that quite a bit, and I love the characters, and I love the story. So
hmm
again, I think if you like the Bad Batch and kind of like the tone of the Bad Batch,
hmm
would definitely recommend this book.
Yeah. Again, because just having those characters there doesn't guarantee a good story.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, I agree. It's the execution, and yeah, there's the way. I mean, the new characters were fantastic.
Hmm.
The characters we already know, again, really fantastic. And
Hmm.
I'd recommend the audiobook because Marc Thompson, he knows how to do it. He knows how to do it. Yeah, I want to see Lamar Giles write more Star Wars. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we could have more novels on them. I mean, yeah, let's tell the story of the Clone Rebellion. And just yeah, I mean, this would be an interesting comic book. Just different an anthology of just different clones and clone units through the dark times.
I'd like a
Yeah,
book just
there we
about
go.
what Echo was doing with Rex. That'd be
Yeah,
nice.
that
Uh,
works too.
during
Yeah,
some of his hiatus moments.
so that'd be great. Yeah, it's whetting the appetite for and yeah, bring up logical rebellion. There's definitely an appetite for stories in this era. I think there's an appetite for stories set in the almost entirely unexplored Phantom Menace to Clone Wars, or Phantom Menace to Attack of the Clones. Well, yeah, Clone Wars, sure, same thing. And yeah, that's prequel is Golden Age. It's not like prequelism isn't even a thing anymore. It's the thing. So yeah, great jobs all around by everyone involved in this one. I do think yeah, that does it for our show. Jolie, any last thoughts, comments?
No, but I do hope this author does get another book,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is. I'll read it.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that was a good place to wrap things up. Thanks everyone down in the comments for joining, chiming in. Here's one more thought here. Various clone commanders, yeah. Oh, during Order 66, coming to terms with it, yeah, that'd be interesting too. Yeah, for sure. Like the aftermath of it, deal with that, because I mean we've gotten a bit of that in Bad Batch, right? We got Crosshair, we have Cody.
Right.
I'm okay. I'm doing okay with the names here. We have Cody, which was great in the show. That kind of thing. Yeah, for sure. You know, the clones in the Canon comic. Why not? There we go. Yeah, it's a good place to wrap things up. Again, thanks for everyone chiming in down in the comments. Great comments there. Let us know what you thought of what do you think of time materials generally, Nemex Manifesto, thoughts on New York Comic Con, and of course, thoughts and feels on the Bad Batch Sanctuary. Joel, again, another great discussion. Thanks for leading us through that. Where can they find you on the internet?
You can find me at GID20234 on Blue Sky, GID20234 on Blue Sky. And of course, I always do the Ion Canon podcast, Blue Sky socials. And I always am on the Star Wars Underworld Discord server. Talk to me, have fun, all sorts of stuff.
There we go. Yes, you can find that ioncannon.biscuit.social. You can follow my personal Instagram, MNEUG1138. Lots of stories about Taylor Swift in there. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case for a bit. Just fair warning. That's also my Blue Sky and Threads and on Discord as well. It's my handle on Discord. Yeah, and then the Tractor Beam on Blue Sky. Check that out. Check us out this Wednesday, chatting about the Great Diamond Meltdown. Just the changes in the comic book industry. It's going to be a fascinating discussion. Hopefully, yeah, the Night Awards, how it impacts Star Wars and just IP IP franchises generally. Yeah, chatting
I
about
know
that.
that the threat of economic recession means there might not be a new Fast and Furious movie, from what I've heard.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, I'm distraught over that news.
If Fast and Furious is a moneymaker, so if the recession hits Star Wars, man, you know who to blame.
Yes. Anyway, the comic book industry on the Tractor. I'm chatting about that this Wednesday. Next week, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We're taking a break. I will be traveling, and Joel will take Canadian Thanksgiving. I give you permission.
Yeah.
Have fun. There you go. Yeah, follow us. Yeah, on canon.biscuit.social and at the SWU for all your social media needs. But yeah, see you this Wednesday. See Joel. I'll see you in a week and a half. Until then, let's blow this thing and head home.